Let's review some of the Tinkercad keyboard shortcuts that we can use that will make life a little bit easier as we're creating 3D models. So the most important one that you'll need to know as we're going through, if you have an object that you want to delete, just make sure that you have that object clicked and just hit Backspace. Just clicking on Backspace will delete any object from your work plane, no matter what location it's in, no matter where it is. Now, on this sheet here, which is available in the classroom, we have some other ones that will be beneficial to us as we're going through and working as well. Now, a lot of times when people are trying to move an object around, they use the mouse just to drag it. But you can also use the arrow keys as well. So just using your arrow keys on here, left, up, down, right, will move it around on our work plane. We also have some where we can kind of move it along in different directions as well. So instead of just using the arrow keys, if I hold down the control key and then hit up, you'll notice that it moves it up and down instead. Or if I hold down shift and now move it left or right, you'll notice that it jumps a much larger amount than it normally would. So if I just hit the left arrow, it will move over just a little bit. If I hit shift, it jumps a much larger amount. So those are a few that will help you to move an object around on the board. Now let's say that I have a specialized object on here that I don't want to have to resize again. So let's say, for example, maybe I have some sort of letter that I'm using. I've already gone through, I've resized it, I want it exactly the size and shape that it needs to be. And instead of dragging another A out here and trying to get it exact again, if you hold down the Alt key and then just drag with your mouse, you can actually make a duplicate copy of that. And let's say if I hold down the Shift key and then select both of those objects, so you can see they're both selected now, I could hold down the Alt key and drag with my mouse and it will make a copy of that as well. And of course, if we want to get rid of it, we can just highlight it and then click on Backspace. Now, one of the ones that I just talked about that will really help as you're working is being able to select multiple objects at once. So if you click on one object, it will highlight that object. If I try clicking on another, it will kind of unclick off of that first object. So if I want to select both objects, I have to click on one and then holding down shift, I can click on that other object. And if I have other objects out here that I want to click on as well, I can just hold down shift and it will select all of those objects. Now, some of the other things that we can do is grouping objects, which will definitely help as well. So if you're trying to spell something, for instance, I don't know, let's just say that I want to do this. If I have all these letters that are the same size, and now that I realize that I want to maybe make this larger, instead of going through and having to change each letter individually, I'm going to hold down shift to select all my letters, and then I'm going to hold down control and hit G. So I'm going to hit Control G, and that's actually going to group all of these objects together. And then once they're grouped, now I can resize the whole thing together and they'll all change instead of just worrying about having to change each one individually. Now, besides that, there's a few other ones that may help as well. The ruler one is definitely a good one if you want to see what the size of something is. So if I hit R on my keyboard and then click on it, you can see that it will kind of show. It should actually show. I'm not sure why it's not doing it right now. Maybe because I have the other video up as well. Oh, there we go. If I have my ruler selected and then I click on it, it will actually show all the dimensions of whatever shape it is that I'm trying to make. So here you can see that it's a little bit over 3.5 inches long, about a little bit less than 1.5 inches wide. And then the very last one there's other ones on here that will help as well, but the very last one that I think will be most beneficial is sometimes you end up with things that are lifted off of our work plane, and that's not necessarily a good thing, especially when we're trying to 3D print. So if I want to just have that drop down to my work plane, with that object selected, I can just hit D and it will just drop right down.